Couch CageSide with your host, Kyle Delaney for CouchFire.co. And in this installment, I'd like to talk specifically about some of the best boxers in MMA. So here's what I'm going to do in this video. I'm not so much going to rank anybody like 1, 2, and 3 or anything like that. I'm just going to explain why they are a good boxer in the field of MMA and what they specifically bring to the table, because each one of them does something different with their boxing style. So I'm going to do the top 3, in my honest opinion. I'm also going to do honorable mentions. So I'm going to start with the honorable mentions. I'm going to slowly move my way into the best boxers in MMA. So that's what I have for this edition. And I'm going to just start out. I'm going to start with the honorable mentions. And the first one on the honorable mention list who doesn't make the top list is BJ Penn. Now, BJ Penn was a feared Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy. He got his black belt in 3 years. That's a rare achievement that hardly anybody gets. And we're expected to come and be a great submission guy, which he is. But BJ Penn possesses some of the best boxing in his division. And what's really impressive about it is he's got very good technique, and also he has great boxing with his disadvantage of reach. BJ Penn doesn't have a huge reach, but he knows how to use his footwork. He uses footwork very well. He's in and out of the pocket. He comes forward for the kill. And you can see this in plenty of fights. In his last Hughes fight, where they met for the 3rd time, he shot right forward and cut off a Hughes strike, sending him down and completely KOing him or TKOing him. And also, you look at the Diego Sanchez fight, his boxing was very sound in that fight as well, using great power, and literally he picked apart Diego Sanchez in his championship fight. So BJ Penn, not really a long reach guy. He makes up for it with very good technique, very good knockout power for a guy his size, fighting at lightweight and welterweight. So BJ Penn is our first honorable mention. The next one is Vitor Belfort. Vitor Belfort's another Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy. He came in black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, expected to be a good submission guy, which he still is, but he comes in with some of the best hand speed that we've ever seen, great knockout speed, not knockout speed, great knockout power, and he comes in, he starts knocking people out. I mean, he has some of the most memorable ones, the most memorable one definitely being against Wanderlei Silva, where he rushed forward with a barrage of punches and sent Wanderlei Silva down for the knockout. I mean, that was just something. Wanderlei Silva is the kamikaze style who pushes forward. Vitor Belfort answered right back with a kamikaze style, right back in his face with hand speed, sending Wanderlei Silva down to the mat, getting the KO, TKO. It was an impressive victory. And, you know, he's done it in multiple fights. The Akiyama fight, he answers right back. He's got such good power and great hand speed, very good boxing, something he's really embraced for someone who was so skilled in jiu-jitsu and still is, but he possesses great boxing. So that's the other honorable mention. The next one, rounding out the honorable mention list, is Anderson Silva. Now, Anderson Silva could definitely be on the top list of boxers, but Anderson Silva doesn't make the top list simply because he does do boxing, but Anderson Silva's Muay Thai is also a reason why he's been very successful in MMA. And I know it's mixed martial arts, different martial arts styles, but Anderson Silva's, I think personally, his Muay Thai is a little bit better than his boxing. He does focus on multiple stand-up styles. But anyway, if we're getting to Anderson Silva's boxing, he did fight in a couple boxing matches. He went 1-1. He has very, very sound boxing. You do not want to get in a stand-up match with Anderson Silva. If you take away his Muay Thai, he could still beat you with his boxing. Some prime examples, I think one of the best ones with his boxing is definitely the Forrest Griffin fight. It was a boxing clinic. He literally, his head movement, he stood in the pocket, was using head movement like Mike Tyson in his prime, staying right in the pocket and stepping forward. His spacing and his control of how he lands his punches. You're going to find no more accurate striker than Anderson Silva. And also, Anderson Silva's very good backtracking. The knockout he had against Forrest Griffin was on his heels. He's backtracking, and he landed a right to Forrest Griffin's his head, sent him down to the mat. And another one, I think, lastly, is the Yushin Okami fight. Yushin Okami, this is the thing, is that Anderson Silva completely destroyed Okami on his feet, a guy who's known for having a very good jab. And Anderson Silva pressed forward, his spacing and the way he landed his punch, he's so accurate in that fight. You're going to find no guy who's more accurate with his strikes. He never hits air. And Anderson Silva, even though he connected with the head kick at the end of the first round, Anderson Silva showed that he found his way inside of Okami's punches and cut him off and ended up getting the knockout in that fight as well. So Anderson Silva rounds out the honorable mention list. Now I'm going to get into the top boxers. The first top boxer I'd like to talk about is Nick Diaz. Now, Nick Diaz is a very unorthodox boxer. Now, you don't want to get in a boxing match with Nick because he will pick you apart. Nick Diaz, what he brings to this list of top boxers, he's a combination striker. He's a punches and bunches striker. Now, Nick Diaz throws multiple strikes. Okay, he's not a knockout artist. He does have power. He's more a chop you down type of guy. He's going to demoralize you, he's going to break you down, he's going to beat you down, then he's going to finish you. He's not a guy who possesses one-punch knockout power. He's not going to come out there and knock you out right away. He picks you apart. Now, what is so good about him with his combination strikes, he can put you up against the cage, lands a barrage of punches, separates to the body and then to the face. Now, Nick Diaz uses the body shot more effectively than anybody in MMA. If you go back and look at some of his fights, the Paul Daly fight, he landed huge body shots to a feared striker in his division, and he ended up beating Paul Daly with some big shots. Another fight would definitely be the Frank Shamrock fight. Look at the Frank Shamrock fight. He had Shamrock up in his cage. He landed a huge left to Shamrock's body, sending him down the mat, eventually getting the TKO in that fight. The body shot was also very effective in the BJ Penn fight. BJ Penn won that first round. Nick Diaz came out and outboxed BJ Penn. And the big part of that, his success, was definitely the body shot. He literally took all of BJ Penn's cardio away in that fight. So he uses the body shot very well. Nick also has a very good jab. He knows his range very well. Nick does throw a lot of punches. He is a pretty accurate striker for a combination striker. But Nick knows his jab and his range very well. His jab, if you go, for example, go to the BJ Penn fight, they're saying in his corner, just touch him. Now, I know he's standing right in the pocket, but he's literally getting his jab hand in BJ Penn's face, not giving him any time to rest. So his jab not only works in his advantage for suffocating and smothering his opponents, but it also works very effectively for his range, keeping his opponents out of the pocket, even though Nick literally stands in the pocket. And also, I just want to say is, Nick uses his chin, really. I mean, Nick doesn't go in and out of the pocket. He's not known for his footwork or his head movement, really. He does have pretty good head movement footwork, but he's really a guy who's going to stay in the pocket and trade with you. What he does is he uses his exceptional chin, sucks you in, and then once he's really a counter striker, he sucks you and lets you hit him, then he comes right back at you, and he jumps all over you. He lets you make the mistake of coming in thinking you have him, then he comes right after you. So that's what Nick has. Nick's our combination striker, punches and bunches striker, and that's why he's one of the top boxers in MMA. And next on the list is Frankie Edgar. Now, what Frankie Edgar does to be the top boxer in MMA, not only is he a great wrestler, but he's really embraced his boxing. So what Frankie Edgar is, he's the flash, he's the finesse. He's going to outstrike you in a very fancy way. Now, he's not in there. He has really found his knockout power lately. I mean, the Maynard knockout was very impressive, something none of us were really expecting at all. We're expecting decision or Maynard to knock him out. But what Frankie Edgar has is he has phenomenal footwork and great hand speed. He has to make up for it with his lack of reach. He does not have a huge reach. So Frankie Edgar uses his footwork to get in and out of the pocket. They do call him the bunny rabbit because he hops in and out. You never know what to expect from Frankie Edgar. But the thing that's also very impressive about Frankie Edgar, not only that does he use his boxing and wrestling, they really complement each other well, but Frankie Edgar always adjusts his game plan. You never know what to expect from him when he comes out. So prime example would definitely be the Maynard fight, where he was caught in the first round in both fights, and he comes out with a new game plan, a new approach. He's always in and out of the pocket. Instead of starting in the pocket, he came from far out and shot right in and was out before you could even land a strike on him. That's the thing also that's so impressive about Frankie Edgar, is that he is very hard to hit. He does not give you the opportunity to hit him, and he also has a phenomenal chin and a lot of heart. But Frankie Edgar is a very technically sound boxer. He outflashes you, and he doesn't give you the chance to land the big strikes, even though that's happened the past couple of Maynard fights. But he still finds a way to win. So his boxing is very sound. So that's what Frankie Edgar is, a very finesse boxer. And lastly, rounding out the list is the heavyweight champion of the world, Junior Dos Santos. Junior Dos Santos is a technically sound boxer, but what he brings to this list of the best boxers in MMA, he's a specialist. And everybody's been saying it. Joe Rogan's been saying it. Everybody says it. He's a knockout artist. Junior Dos Santos, you listen to him before every fight. Well, how do you think this fight's going to turn out? Oh, I'm just going to I need to knock him out. I'm going to knock him out. He is so confident in his hands. You're going to find a guy there's not any guy in MMA who is more confident in their boxing and their hands than Junior Dos Santos. Now, Junior Dos Santos can get in a boxing match with you. He can get in a stand-up battle with you. We've seen that in the Roy Nelson fight, and he can still avoid the takedown using his deadly uppercut. Nobody has a better uppercut in MMA than Junior Dos Santos. But he has unbelievable knockout power, and he is technically sound when he needs to be. But what he is so good at is he's not a big head movement guy. His footwork, it's the way his pop in his first step. He pops into the pocket and he cuts you off. Look at the Junior Dos Santos versus Velasquez fight on UFC on Fox. He literally cut off a Velasquez strike and landed the huge right to Cain Velasquez's temple or the side of his head, sending him down the deck, getting the TKO victory. That was huge. If you look at the Gabriel Gonzaga fight, Gonzaga goes to land throw a kick. Junior pops forward into the pocket with a blink of an eye, lands a huge strike, and eventually finishes the fight in TKO fashion with Gonzaga on the mat. So Junior Dos Santos, he can be a technically sound boxer, but he's there for one reason. those first 2 minutes, you're going to find out a lot about yourself if you actually have good stamina, because he's going in for the kill. It's not in and out so much, Junior Dos Santos. He's forward and he's trying to finish you. He's not looking to pop back out of the pocket and try and get a boxing match. He's trying to finish you when he commits forward. He commits for the kill. So that's Junior Dos Santos and what he brings to the table. He is a specialist. He is a knockout artist. He's there to knock your head off. So that's what we have for the top boxers. We have Nick Diaz, our combination striker, very unorthodox. We have Frankie Edgar, who's the flash, the bunny rabbit, our finesse. Then you have Junior Dos Santos, who's your knockout fighter and your specialist. So those are the top boxers in MMA, in my honest opinion. And some of the honorable mentions, if they didn't make the list, there's plenty of other guys who are qualified, but those are the top boxers in my opinion. And that's what I have for this edition of the Cage Side Couch. This is Kyle Delaney signing off. I'm out of here.